Have you ever wondered how the Israel-Palestine conflict, one of the most enduring and controversial confrontations in the world, began? The story weaves together a complex tapestry of historical events, political decisions, and cultural tensions, all contributing to a scenario that continues to shape our world today. Despite the complexity, understanding the origins of this conflict is crucial, not just for historians, but for anyone seeking to grasp the socio-political dynamics of the Middle East. The roots of this conflict reach deep into the past, involving a mix of religious beliefs, territorial claims, and national identities that have intertwined over centuries. To comprehend the current situation, we must journey back in time, navigating the intricate maze of historical developments that have culminated in the present impasse. It's a tale of two peoples, two narratives, and a land that both call home. Today, we'll take a chronological journey to understand how this conflict began and evolved over time. To truly grasp the roots of this conflict, we need to travel back to the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The land we know as Israel and Palestine has been a crossroads of culture, trade, and conflict for thousands of years. Its historical significance is undeniable, having been a prominent stage for the unfolding of three major religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Under the reign of the Ottoman Empire, which lasted from the 16th to the early 20th century, the region was relatively peaceful. However, the empire's decline in power and influence led to a power vacuum, creating a ripe environment for the emergence of new ideologies and movements. Enter the late 19th century. The world was undergoing a transformation. Nationalism was sweeping across continents, and this wave didn't leave the Middle East untouched. Two significant movements arose during this period, each with its own vision for the future of this historically significant land. On one hand, there was Zionism, a movement largely driven by European Jews who sought a homeland of their own in response to widespread anti-Semitism. Theodor Herzl, often considered the father of modern political Zionism, envisioned a Jewish state in their ancestral homeland, a concept that gained traction among Jewish communities worldwide. On the other hand, Arab nationalism was gaining momentum. Sparked by a desire to throw off the yoke of Ottoman rule, this movement sought to unite Arabic-speaking peoples under one flag. The concept of a unified Arab nation, stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the Arabian Sea, was a powerful vision, and Palestine was part of this imagined community. As the 20th century dawned, both movements were growing in strength and influence. The Zionists were actively promoting Jewish immigration to Palestine, while the Arab nationalists were pushing for independence from Ottoman rule. Tensions were growing, and the differing visions for the future of the region were on a collision course. The stage was set for a major confrontation in the early 20th century. The year 1917 brought a pivotal moment in the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict. This year witnessed the issuance of the Balfour Declaration, a statement from the British government expressing support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. Named after Arthur James Balfour, the British Foreign Secretary at the time, this declaration marked a significant shift in the geopolitical landscape. The Balfour Declaration was a product of complex diplomatic negotiations and had far-reaching implications. It was driven by a variety of factors, including Britain's strategic interests in the region and the growing international sympathy for the Zionist movement, which sought a homeland for the Jewish people. It's important to note that this declaration didn't promise a state, but rather a national home, a term left deliberately vague. However, the declaration also stated that nothing should prejudice the civil and religious rights of the existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine. In essence, the British government was trying to balance the aspirations of both Jewish and Arab communities, a task that proved to be extremely challenging. The Balfour Declaration set the stage for the British Mandate of Palestine, a period of British administration that lasted from 1920 to to 1948. During this mandate, Britain was tasked with implementing the principles of the Balfour Declaration, a task that was met with increasing difficulty as both Jewish immigration and Arab opposition escalated. The mandate period saw a significant increase in Jewish immigration, fueled by the horrors of the Holocaust. This influx intensified the conflict as the Arab population viewed the increasing Jewish presence as a direct threat to their own national aspirations. The British, unable to resolve the conflicting demands of the two communities, eventually turned the problem over to the United Nations in 1947. The tensions continued to escalate, leading to a series of violent clashes. The Balfour Declaration and the British Mandate thus played a crucial role in shaping the contours of the Israel-Palestine conflict, setting the stage for the tumultuous events that were to follow. Fast forward to 1947, a year that would forever change the landscape of the Middle East. As the world emerged from the devastating clutches of the Second World War, the United Nations was tasked with resolving the long-standing tension in Palestine. The result was the UN Partition Plan, a proposal to divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem under international control. The Partition Plan was met with mixed reactions. The Jewish Agency, a key player in the Zionist movement, accepted the proposal, viewing it as a significant step towards the establishment of a Jewish state. The Arab League and Palestinian leaders, on the other hand, rejected the plan, arguing it violated the rights of the majority Arab population in Palestine. Despite the opposition, the plan was approved by the UN General Assembly in November 1947. From that moment, the gears were set in motion for the creation of Israel. On May 14, 1948, David Ben-Gurion, the head of the Jewish Agency, declared the establishment of the State of Israel, marking the end of British rule under the Mandate system and the beginning of a new era. However, this momentous event was not greeted with universal celebration. In fact, it sparked the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, also known as the War of Independence or Nakba, depending on which narrative one subscribes to. The neighboring Arab nations, refusing to recognize Israel, launched an attack. The war resulted in an Israeli victory, but also led to a significant displacement of people, further complicating the already fraught situation. The aftermath of the war saw Israel controlling more territory than initially proposed by the UN Partition Plan, while the areas that were intended to form an Arab state were divided between Israel, Jordan, and Egypt. The Palestinian state, as envisioned by the UN, was left unrealized. The creation of Israel marked a significant turning point in the Israel-Palestine conflict. This event and the issues it brought forth continue to reverberate in the region, shaping the contours and narratives of the ongoing conflict. And so, the story continues. Since the establishment of Israel, the conflict has taken many forms and has had far-reaching implications. The initial spark ignited in the late 40s, leading to a series of wars that have shaped the region's history and politics. Let's start with the War of Independence in 1948, which birthed the State of Israel. It was a tumultuous time, with neighboring Arab states launching attacks. Israel, however, managed to repel these invasions, solidifying its existence and leaving a large Palestinian population displaced. In the years that followed, the conflict escalated, culminating in the Six-Day War of 1967. Israel's swift victory resulted in the occupation of the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and the Golan Heights. This territorial expansion would become a focal point of future negotiations and disputes. The late 70s saw a glimmer of hope with the Camp David Accords, where Egypt recognized Israel, leading to the return of the Sinai Peninsula. This marked the first peace treaty between Israel and an Arab nation. a momentous event that, unfortunately, did not extend to the broader Israel-Palestine conflict. Fast forward to the Oslo Accords in the 90s, a series of agreements that aimed to set a path towards Palestinian self-governance. However, these agreements fell short of a comprehensive solution, and the region continued to be marred by bouts of violence and unrest. The turn of the century saw the Second Intifada, a period of intensified Palestinian-Israeli violence. This, coupled with the failure of subsequent peace initiatives, has only deepened the divide between the two sides. In recent years, the conflict has been characterized by sporadic flare-ups of violence, failed peace talks, and a tenuous status quo. The situation is further complicated by the ongoing Israeli settlement expansion and the political divide within the Palestinian Territories. Despite numerous attempts at resolution, the Israel-Palestine conflict remains one of the most complex and contentious issues in the world today. Understanding the origins of the Israel-Palestine conflict provides valuable insights into the complexities of this ongoing struggle. We've journeyed from the pre-20th century developments, witnessing the geopolitical shifts and evolving narratives that have shaped this region. We saw the impact of the Balfour Declaration and the British Mandate, crucial turning points that significantly altered the course of history. The UN Partition Plan and the creation of Israel marked another pivotal moment, setting the stage for decades of conflict. Through all these events, we've observed the intricate web of causes and consequences that define the Israel-Palestine conflict today. The importance of historical context in understanding current events cannot be overstated. It's through this lens that we can better comprehend the challenges and complexities that continue to pervade this region. As we've seen, the roots of the Israel-Palestine conflict run deep, and its resolution remains a daunting challenge for the international community.